Welcome to the very first episode of the Halfway Try Hard podcast. I am your host, JX Gunn, and this is Meatball Enthusiast. He'll be joining me today.
Hey,
How you doing, bud?
dude, I've been stuck out here working the entire day, so as you could probably guess, I'm doing fantastic. I love coming in and clocking into work in my own garage, in my tiny studio here, and staring at a laptop screen. Let me tell you, it is the most fulfilling thing I have ever done in my entire life.
All that schooling.
Yeah, that's cool. Just sit in my garage.
So, you're a Twitch streamer, right?
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
Some...
Whatever you want to call a Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
I like to think what I do is I like to just hang out with the boys. You know what I mean? So what I think my stream brings to the table, as opposed to hey guys, uh, dude, bro, here with a brand new video. We're gonna play this game and we're gonna try and get these things done. Hey, we're gonna hop right in. Right? You've heard that a million times, right?
Yeah.
Heard that a million times, and
like...
you go through like a lot of the people that have like I don't know 50 something viewers, a lot of the partners, anyways. It just sounds so generic.
It makes it sound like they're almost not people anymore. Like they're just part
Well,
of the
I mean, they also
corporation.
suck.
No, you know what I'm saying though. Like they're just corporate dummies in a
I
way.
think they've been drawn so far into the idea that they need to continuously generate content in order to pay the bills, right? And that's the crux of it. Is like they're going to work. That's how they're viewing it. Is it's their job to do this, and so to me, it just sucks the life out of anything that they say. And I'm pretty sure you could find someone who could say the same. Um, but like it sounds so dead to me. And so I know you can attest to how I act when I'm on stream versus in real life. I'm the same fucking person. I'm
Yeah.
the same shit.
Mm.
I speak the same way. I say the same words. I fucking roast the same people the same way if I'm looking them straight in their face. And I think I think I it for the since I've started, and we did this a little bit more later. I found so many cool people along the way since I started streaming, and every single one of them, at least in my eyes, seems really genuine. And um, that was one of the things I didn't expect to run into when I started streaming. So
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Yeah, it's actually I started getting back into it recently myself. Mostly just playing games with you and showing up on your stream and stuff like that. But I've seen it, and it's really cool actually. It's almost like there's a whole world of people out there. Like I mean, you've made friends from India, the UK, Brazil. You got worldwide friends now, and
it's weird to think about.
It's grown a community
I know
basically.
I know another streamer, which I hope to have on this podcast at some point. But Jimmy, he has this map of people that view his stream, and it's people all over the place, man. It's weird. Like I've had people in from Australia. I've had people in from Hungary. Was the most recent guy that came in, and that was cool because I'm part Hungarian. My mom's side, she was half, so I'm somewhere between 25 and 33% Hungarian, whatever they want to call it. Um, and so it was cool. They're like, oh, dude, like my family is from there, and one of the things I like to do, it doesn't happen super often, but I like to find because I really love food, and anyone who's in my Discord sees all the neat stuff I get to eat. But um, I like to ask people for a dish that's from their, kind of a staple from their region. And then what I'll do is I'll go and find someone on YouTube, and not just anybody on YouTube. I don't just Google the recipe because a lot of people like you'll get like Gordon Ramsay makes it, or like um, what's the other guy? Jamie Oliver will make something, and then like it'll get reviewed by somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about. Like someone who lives in the region, educated in the region, and goes, "No, that's wrong. What the fuck are you doing?" So I like to go find that guy, and then whatever he tells me to do is how I try and make it, so I can try it for myself.
Yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of the try hard mentality coming out there too,
Yeah,
a little bit.
trying way too fucking
But no,
hard.
that's good though. I mean, you're trying to experience other cultures and with the people that you meet. So,
Right, and specifically with the people from India, and you'll run into uh, soon here. You'll run into Mr. Winterstar, the new king of the half-wits. Um, I have him and a couple other people whenever we go out to Indian places. I have them review the menu and they kind of go over which region some dishes are from, or how the same dish would be presented in one region versus another region, because that's a lot of things. Especially you think about stuff that happens here in America, right? There's a lot of people, especially outside the country, don't understand the absolute scale of this place. And same thing with India. India's a pretty damn big country, and so you can have the same dish prepared here. Like think about chili in the north
mm,
versus chili in the South. You ever had chili from the South before? It's a
mm,
whole
I think I know where
fucking
you're
different
getting
ball
at, but
game,
no,
dude.
I
Yeah,
yeah, I
it's
haven't.
it's a whole fucking different ball game. I can't
Mm,
give you the specifics on what's different, but holy shit, night and day. And so same thing. And so it's really cool um, to find, especially food dishes, because I love eating, so it's cool to find dishes that you can get in one place from one region that will taste completely different from another region.
yeah, and I actually understand that quite a bit because I did some traveling a couple years ago, and well, just around the East Coast, United States, stuff like that, and you don't really realize like how localized your palate is, like your flavors and stuff. Like here in the Midwest, Lower Michigan, it's meat and potatoes. Like most places you
Oh
go,
yeah.
you're gonna get bread, meat, potatoes. That's
Oh yeah.
staple diet for us. We
Don't get me
start,
wrong, it's delicious.
oh yeah, and then you start getting like even just up north, northern Michigan, stuff like that. You start running into different types of like vegetables that people are growing up there and stuff like that, seasonal type stuff. Fish. I mean,
Yeah.
I never liked
Yep.
fish.
Fish.
Um,
Yeah.
East Coast, I went out to Rhode Island one time and I forgot exactly what they were. Not crab cakes, but something along those lines. You know,
Mhm.
I learned to like a lot of other foods just because
Yeah.
you open that
Um,
your mind up a little bit to that.
yeah. And just recently we went up. Something my wife and I like to do is when it gets cold out, uh, really cold out, we drive up. We go on vacation up north. Don't ask how it started, but it's been fantastic so far. So we just
Hmm.
kind of go and hang out with the locals. It's pretty awesome because we're extraordinarily down to earth people. Like I said before, you meet me online, you may be the same in person, and so um, going to hang out with people that are they're the ones they're the ones putting in the framework. They're not just the seasonal job people, it's the people keeping the roads functioning, keeping the power on, shit like that, especially through the winter because they get a lot more snow up there than we do. And it gets so cold they don't salt the roads because the salt doesn't work.
Hmm.
So you have to have a vehicle that can drive in the snow, and for long, and everyone's got their truck and they got an extra fuel tank in the back because you cannot run out of fuel because there's a long distance between fuel stops. So that's just how people live. So anyways, we go up there and there was a restaurant we went to. Actually, we only went up as north. We went to Gaylord this time, so it's not nearly as north as we normally go. But they go out on the. I think it's a river. Is there a river nearby? I forget. But they even in the winter they still have local fish, even when shit's frozen. So the I had the best fish tacos I've ever had in my entire life in the dead of winter in northern Michigan. That was eye opening. It was like holy shit! Like it's only a few hour drive, and like that, it's still just the food or the quality of the food is that much different because you're in a different, even just that few hour drive, you're in a
Yeah.
completely different region, even your own state.
No, yeah, and that makes sense. The first time I was ever in Petoskey, Michigan, first trip I ever
Hmm.
took when I was working for that company at the time, we went out to a particularly fancy restaurant actually, but I mean, it's a little different than what you can get around here, and I had smoked duck for the first time ever. And
Ooh.
not gonna lie, it was a little slimy because that's just the way duck cooks, but it was actually really freaking good. And I probably would have never tried that anywhere else. I mean, it was kind of like a spur of the moment. I'm traveling, I'm gonna try this type thing,
Right.
and it kind of like opens your mind a little bit, like you're saying.
dude, dude, I don't understand it. Quite literally, I cannot fathom why certain people like just refuse to try a different food. I know we've kind of segued from the streaming over to food here, but
It
uh,
happens.
I mean, I mean, you can even argue this the same mindset to other aspects of your life other than just food. Where it's just like, no, I don't like that. Have you tried it? Well, I tried it once. You tried it once from where? Okay, well, it was from this place, and I got this dish. All right, and you look up that place, and it's not even like the cuisine you're getting. It's like some crappy fusion thing that somebody decided to cook up in their head while they were drunk and high, and they don't even know how to cook the stuff. But they're like, hey, I just really want to have, some Chinese noodle dishes with pancakes. They're like, what? You went there? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then they just automatically assume that is how all of it's supposed to taste. And one of the things I've done for the last actually over a decade is I used to have five things that I didn't like. Let's see if I can remember. It was coffee, Splenda, sweet potatoes, um, dark chocolate, and I can't remember the fifth one, but a lot of those are kind of bitter. So every about 6 months or so, I'll just go back and try it
Mm.
because your palate changes, especially when you start eating new food.
Oh
And
yeah.
so and so I was just like, hey, maybe I like this now. You know what I eat? You know what I eat now? I drink coffee. I eat dark chocolate. I have Splenda in some of it. I won't go out of my way to have Splenda, but there are drinks that have Splenda in it, like like Arnold Palmer, I think has Splenda in it. I will go back and drink those. Um, shit like that. It's just you have to keep trying at it because just because you don't like it now doesn't mean you're not going to like it later.
Yeah.
And I think that applies a lot. I think to um, a little bit harder lesson to learn because life choices. Maybe, oh, I don't like ziplining because it's scary. Maybe you'll like it now. Who knows? Maybe that's kind of a topical way to look at that. But just try something new.
Mm.
You never know. Breaking the monotony of your routine is probably something that you need in your
You
life.
never know if you've never done it.
Exactly. So maybe coming back to streaming, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to branch off though. I mean, like we're learning about you, we're learning about me, we're learning about other streamers talking to each other,
Right?
so that's not a bad thing. I guarantee it's gonna happen more than once.
Yeah, no kidding.
So if we do want to get back towards the streaming topic, let's talk about the half-wit tryhards in general. This was obviously me and you know it's an idea we worked on a couple years ago. I faded out of existence for a little while because that traveling job I was working on.
That clip from The Simpsons where Homer just kind of disappears into the
Into
into
the
the
bush.
into the bush. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. No,
Um.
the no, the idea was to sort of um, push for community engagement. We build these teams, right? You don't have, and throw you can freely switch between teams, and that was something we allowed in the Discord. Um, to get people to interact with each other. Now, obviously, it's not going to get to the point of if it gets to the point of people are like, they're really try harding, right? They're starting screaming at each other, starting arguments and stuff. It's like, no, we'll could we'll be quick to put a kibosh to that. But like,
mm,
um, the idea is to build these teams, and then what we can do is what I really want to do. It's really fun for me is get all these people together and like not so much compete, but like us versus you, and it's over a long period of time. So it's not just like, oh, we won this thing, we're the winners, we're the champions, blah 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 blah. We can have this dumb scoreboard. We can have competitions that clearly favor the halfwits, or we can have competitions that clearly favor the tryhards.
mm,
But like it'd be fun to do in the process. One thing, the most fun, and actually, I've neglected to mention this earlier, is I primarily stream Counter Strike. Go figure, the tryhard, right? Um, the most fun I had in Counter Strike, there's two times, um, two different things, and I think they're about equal. The one was, I think, yeah, it was at my brother's bachelor party. We went over to Andrew's place,
mm.
and we play. All four of us were on LAN, and then we brought John in as our five stack, and like nobody knew how to really play. Yeah, I think you were still like pretty new at the time,
Really,
playing
yeah.
Counter Strike. So nobody really knew how to play, but we all played together, and like just the team element of playing in the same room, and someone's feeling down, and the rest of us, we were all absolutely, cocked out of our mind at the time. But it was like, dude, you're just having a bad game, dude. Come on, you're gonna get right the fuck back in this, and we're just yelling at each other, like hyping each other up. That was so much fucking fun.
Yeah. So
And then the other one, last thing, I promise. The other one was, it was just me and Scruffy, and my buddy Scruffy, and we joined a casual server. Which anyone familiar with Counter Strike, it is, or not familiar with Counter Strike, it is a 10 on 10 setup where there's no friendly fire, and you get a bunch of things for free, stuff like that. So it's kind of goofy. Matches a lot shorter, but we convinced every single person in the lobby to only use smoke grenades, flashbangs, and knives, and Zeus's, and it was fucking fantastic. Holy shit. That was the most fun I have ever had in Counter Strike. Those two. So that's the things I want to do, right? So obviously we could have teams played like an actual match against each other, or we can do stupid bullshit where we run around with knives and smokes. Like,
yeah.
that's too. That's kind of the idea is
So
community engagement, get everyone
yeah.
involved.
So like the not to oversimplify, but it's almost like trying to make gaming fun again in
Yes.
a way. Like it's
Yeah.
not overly competitive and like it's almost like you're kind of drawing a line between the tryhards and the halfwits on purpose to like show like yeah what am I trying to say here? It's like these are the two types of gamers you have out there. I mean, there's not a whole lot of other types of gamers.
Yeah, and the idea that you can flow between them was kind of paramount to it, because everyone likes playing like an idiot every so often, and everyone
Yeah.
likes to, and not everyone, but some people like to really knuckle down and put all of their effort into something, which both things are completely acceptable. And I don't remember who I saw that said it, but they said skill based matchmaking ruined online games.
Hmm.
It ruined the community aspect of it, because now everyone's just trying to rank up.
Yeah.
Whereas really, really early days of Counter Strike, it was just you load into the game, you open the server browser, you find a server that people are playing on, or your favorite server, and you that's it.
Yeah, and you might have that one tryhard in the lobby that's
Yeah,
sniping from a mile away, but you can just get around it because not
right.
everybody's doing it.
Yeah, but it's not skill based. So you'll have eventually, the community kind of interacts with each other, kind of like when you're playing a pickup game. You're playing basketball or something out in recess at school, right? Like, all right, these two dudes are on the varsity team. They're going to be on different teams, and then they draw teams from that. Like, the same shit would happen. It's like, hey, these two dudes are really good. They should be on other teams, and they would kind of just still. Sometimes they'd end up on the same team, and they would just stomp everything. But like, shit would just naturally balance itself out, because that's how the community works. Everyone wants to have fun. Not everyone wants just to stomp, because a stomp isn't fun
Yeah.
for either side. Like, it's you don't feel fulfilled at the end of it. So if you're really spending your time into something, like putting your effort into it, or even just it's your. A lot of people use it for like an escape. For instance, it's like if
Hmm.
you just go in and you mop the floor with everyone, or you get mop. It's like, well, what the fuck was that for? That was a waste of time.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, and then you don't get to see the same faces, because some people will find the same server. The whole community aspect of it is kind of gone. And I know you and I grew up at a time when playing games with other people was inviting people into your house to sit on the couch next to you, because that's
Hmm.
the only way you could.
Yeah, you weren't just inviting him into your house; you're inviting him onto your screen. Like
Yeah,
you're
your
playing
screen.
with
All right,
somebody else on the same
don't
screen.
cheat. Don't cheat.
Yeah.
Stop looking at my screen.
Yeah. Don't screen peek. So yeah, it's like the good old days.
Yeah,
You know.
some of the magic, especially because of some of the. Here we go, branching into game development. Oh boy, I could talk about this for fucking hours.
Yeah.
Branching into game development. It's obviously it's all horribly monetized. It's like, to the extent of it, it's almost sickening. Like, they'll just put out a half-assed game, but because it's the new one and they just put new skins on things, people will buy it.
Hmm.
And it's no one's fault but the gaming communities. we have allowed this to fucking happen. It's like we've tolerated it. I mean, obviously, I haven't given EA, Activision Blizzard, or what was the other one? 343 or Microsoft. They haven't gotten a single penny from me in over 10 years.
So,
I took my free upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 10, and that was it.
real quick. So, this actually answers a question that Jimmy, I'm sure, will have for you: is why have you played Counter Strike and pretty much only Counter Strike for the past 10 years?
so
He was asking that last night.
so I used to play a lot of Dota. So we have to go all the way back. When I first started playing games, the first game that I really latched onto was probably Halo. I mean, we can go even further back than that. We had an N64, we had a Sega Genesis, we had a PS1, we had the original Xbox. We played like Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six 3, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So, really old school shit. But the first game that we really like was like, this is the shit. Was the first Halo. Story was well written, great co-op mechanics. The fighting mechanics were well balanced. There wasn't any online stuff. We didn't play on PC at that point, and Xbox didn't support online
And the only cheaters you had
at
to
that.
worry about was screen peekers.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And so that was fun. I've played through the first Halo campaign at least 20 or 30 times, and then Halo 2 came out, and that was like I think for everybody, the entire scene, Halo 2 just took it and ripped it out from whatever it thought it was and threw it out the fucking window. Because the success of the multiplayer aspect of that game cannot be understated at all. And this gets to my point when it comes back to video game development. You look at interviews with the staff that were building that game, or building it. I said that's the right word to use. They were building that game.
Hmm.
Everyone poured their fucking soul into it. It was like they were passionate. They're like, no, this needs to go be done this way because it's the best fucking way we can do it. And then you look at see like Halo 4, Halo 5, 6, all the new shit from like 343, it's dog shit. They took the game, they advertised themselves as Halo fans who really wanted to you know, I was about to say milk it, which is what they did. Um, a lot of people who didn't earn what was there and just took it and was like, we can kind of do this to it, a little tweak, and then just made a bunch of money off of the great name, off the backs of all the people who did all of the hard work and put the passion into it. Who I guarantee you all now are probably fired or laid off or are working for a different studio because they spoke up about loot boxes or something. But anyway, I digress. We'll get to that later, probably again.
Yeah.
Anytime that's ever brought up, because um,
Be plenty of episodes to talk about
yeah.
all that.
So that was the game that I really kind of latched onto was Halo. We played 1, 2, and 3. I played a lot of online at that point, and then right around after 3 is when I got into PC gaming, and I played a lot of I played a bit of Team Fortress, and I played a lot of Dota 2. And my friend Gil started to get into Counter Strike at the time, and we would play it. We've had lands at least one a year. Um, in its early days, there was definitely 2 a year. We had the Winter Wonderland, and then we had a Summerland. And we'd always end up playing Counter Strike, and we just load into a server with a bunch of bots and shoot them. It was kind of fun. But my friend Gil um, started to get me into it, and I was like, no, I just really want to play Dota. I have like 2,000 hours in Dota. So I don't know how it fucking happened because he'd be like, no, dude, come on, let's play. And I was hesitant. I was like, no, I don't want to fucking play that game. And then eventually, because I'm very competitive by nature, and so I try to isolate where I'm going to be competitive so that way I don't bring it into aspects of my life that I shouldn't be competitive in, like in my relationship with my wife, right? I don't need to be competitive with like how much money I make compared to her because like, some people do that.
Hmm.
So I take everything that is I need to be better, not everything, but like the majority of my the idea in my head that I need to be better, and I concentrate it here so it doesn't toxify the rest of my life. And should probably apply a little bit more to that to work if you ask me. But so eventually, it became an outlet for my competitiveness. And I remember when we bought this house in 2017, when the floors were still ripped up. There was just my desks there sitting on plywood, in the house while we're still working on getting new floors. There I was, fucking just chugging Red Bulls and chonking away at people, dude, because it just drew me right in. Because when I was in high school, I played sports um, competitively, right? I was on the basketball team. I was too skinny to play football. I was 6'3" and 120 pounds. So what position you want to play? I don't know. Maybe I'll play getting mopped on the fucking floor. That's the position I'll
They'll
play.
use you as the football, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking twig, dude. I couldn't play football. So I played basketball, which is great because I was a fucking twig and I drew so many fouls and I was so damn good at free throws, let me tell you. But and that was the outlet for my competitiveness. And then going into college, I wasn't good enough to play college ball. And also I
Hmm.
ended up having to work because I paid my way through college. So I didn't have anything that was any team-esque or competitiveness in my life. And so I kind of just latched onto it.
Yeah,
And um,
thus the
I think
tryhard
that,
was born.
yeah, the tryhard was born. And that was the difference between like Dota and Counter Strike is like if you have a dud on your team in Dota, the game's scuffed because he feeds the team gets way better than your team because that's just how the mechanics of the game work. And then no matter how hard you try, you just fucking lose because your dude fed them. Um, which obviously there's mechanics to punish people who do that, but at the time they weren't that great. And
Hmm.
so if you're in Counter Strike, if you have a dud in your team, you can still hard carry if you're playing well enough. Like higher rank stuff, obviously not, but like especially lower to middle ranks, if you're just lambasting people, like you're gonna win probably. So that also the grew me to the game as opposed to Dota. So there you go,
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah. A long form answer.
Yeah.
Um, no, that's cool. You give a little history. I like it. Um, one thing I would like to discuss too is the half-wit portion of
Oh
of our name. Doesn't necessarily mean you're dumb.
no.
I actually would like to expand on that a little bit because talking about you grew up with Halo. I did the same thing. I remember when Halo first was coming out, I got the Game Informer Xbox demo
Oh
disc,
yeah,
and I
dude.
played the
Oh,
that beach assault mission like 45 times in a row. And I actually learned how to fight those hunters. I used to call them big blue guys because we didn't know the lore back then.
right, right.
Um, so
Because they didn't tell you what they were until you looked
no,
it up.
you just play the demo, and when you're that young, you're not caring about the lore. You're like, there's a big blue guy, shoot
It's
him!
a big dude there.
Yeah.
Shoot him.
So, yeah, that right there is a little hint and towards my playstyle. Um, and then a lot of the I had an Xbox One was my first online gameplay experience when I was younger.
Mhm.
Call of Duty 2, I think it was on the original Xbox. I think
Oh,
which one was it that
Modern Warfare 2? Is Modern Warfare because there was
did no
there might have been an online for Call of Duty 4.
the OG Xbox actually one of the World War II versions did have
Did
a
it?
online multiplayer. I forgot
Okay.
exactly which one it was. It might have been 3,
Because
but
because I played 1, 2, 3, and 4, Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, and then I stopped because it was like, oh, this is the same game,
hmm.
and then it's
So
still the same game. They haven't changed anything.
essentially uh I wasn't that competitive playing that cuz like, I didn't I never got into sports myself. I would hop on and that was my escape from just things going on around me and stuff like that. So I just get on, play multiplayer. No rhyme or reason. Nobody was really communicating because it was a kind of a new concept, the multiplayer
Hmm.
gameplay and stuff like that. So you just jump in, grab a gun, go shoot somebody. You did
Right.
no teamwork, just run around, shoot, get the most kills. Um, and actually, I could talk about this too. Battlefield 2, one of the first PC games I ever had, and I never played that on multiplayer though. I always played against the bots because I was too afraid to play on multiplayer, and I also don't think I had internet in my PC then. Um, but yeah, it's another one of those things. You just jump in, you run around, you shoot things, you try to make things go kablam, and you know. So that's a lot of my gameplay styles derive from that. It's like you're not focused on the team play. You're just trying to go out and have fun.
Right,
Um,
right.
Not saying tryhards can't have fun. Just saying it's a lot more fun to
No,
be a
we're
halfwit.
only here to win. We're here to have fun.
It's a lot more fun to be a halfwit. That's all I'm trying
Yep,
to say.
yep. Well, that's why at the beginning when we were designing the name, it was like, hey, um, I think I think the tryhards are going to be severely outnumbered. And then, not saying that the
Sure.
halfwit team is just full of people that are stupid, but people are way more inclined to call themselves stupid than they are to call themselves a tryhard.
It's very true. I've
Right?
noticed this.
It's,
It's
dude, you stopped streaming for over a fucking year, and your team is still bigger than mine. You haven't even done
yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
pick your team. People like, I'm not a fucking tryhard.
the true spirit of a halfwit. I wasn't even trying that hard. I was still winning. I
Exactly. See, you're
don't know.
fucking stupid.
But
Ay,
yeah,
ay,
no,
ay,
that's the cool thing about this community too, though, is you have that flexibility to jump back and forth. Like last night, we're drinking, smoking, having fun, just bullshitting, and like we did not really care if we were winning or losing. We're talking shit to each other most of the time.
Yep.
That's your half-wit experience, and every single one of us was a half-wit last night.
Yep.
You get in, and we get into matches. We have days where we're just like, okay, I want to
No, we're
win
fucking.
something. I
We're
want to
gonna fucking
win.
destroy these
Yeah,
guys.
I
We
want to
lost
win.
5 in a row. Fuck these guys.
Yeah, fuck these guys.
Sorry, I had to be you, but buddy,
Yeah,
you're dead.
yeah, this is time. I'm gonna start making call outs now.
Yeah. And
um,
there's one diggity. There's one diggity. There's one over there. He's over there. Not use real callouts. We did that once. Another casual game where we called everything diggity. No, it was a competitive game. We just called everything diggity for no reason. Because there's a call out on Inferno. If you're in Australia, I don't remember exactly where it is, but it's called diggity because Australians are goofy and they're all upside down. But that was that was fantastic. Same thing, half a mentality. Sometimes you just gotta have fun and not try so hard.
so, where would you like to see this whole community go in the future? Like what are your aspirations?
That is a fantastic question. I have no idea because
And that's their
yeah, no,
half-wit
I know
side.
that's not the answer. I don't think anyone's looking for, but I don't have any expectations, I think. And I think I want to keep it that way
I
because
I can
it's not
completely
saying I
agree with
won't
that.
it's not saying I won't put any time or effort into, I don't want to say content creation. I'm not going to like purposefully do things to generate content. I think um,
Yeah.
content that comes naturally is much more rewarding than, hey, we're going to go out and, stick 5 sticks of C4 under here just so we can generate a clip to put on TikTok. Like, no, that's stupid.
And
Um,
that's not saying like doing stupid things in a game is
yeah,
not like
you can still
fun.
do stupid things. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, this would be funny. That's
But
that's
we
that's
don't
what I want to
you're
happen when
not
we do
going
streaming.
into it like, "Hey, I need content. Let's do this for content." You're like,
So
we just jump on a game. We're like, "Okay, we're doing stupid shit.
yeah.
Let's see what happens."
So part of the streaming, why I started in the first place, um, was because I developed an addiction to playing video games. Lo and behold, you can get addicted to anything, right?
Hmm.
So it was starting to affect portions of my life that I really didn't want it to. So I always wanted to try streaming, and I honestly didn't think the internet around here could support it, but it can. Oh, eventually it could, because they just did a whole infrastructure update recently. Um, and so I was like, well, you know what? How about we do this? If I'm going to justify keeping this hobby because it was really putting a strain in my personal life, it was like, if we really want to keep this, we're going to consolidate it into these 3 days because I would stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Into these 3 days, once the kids are asleep, everything's all said and done, you go out and stream, and maybe we'll make enough money to pay the internet bill. Okay, that's how it started. And then I met all these really fucking cool people, and I want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So
No,
long
that's
term, I
awesome though.
have I have no idea. No fucking idea. Because who's to say with this format? So like how we wanted to structure it is like, we have like you have the Don of the Tryhards and then like the King of the Halfwits at the top, and we'd have like a series of like anyone who wants to be part of the community. Well, not anyone. The select people who want to be like privileged, you call it that, right? Are going to be underneath in the structure, right? They're going to
Hmm.
be here. and then you have your mods, and then you have everyone else, right? And so I don't want those people directly under us to be content creators or streamers or whatever we want to call it. So that way they keep people engaged. They're allowed to have that level of notoriety because they're doing something for the ecosystem that we've developed. Long term, I mean, here's the thing. Like, let's say we get somebody in here under the banner of one of our teams, and then they outpace us by like a fucking country mile, right? They get like 10, 20,000 followers, stuff like that. Like things that could happen. Um, there could be complications from that. Maybe they want to go out and just build their own brand, which they're free to, obviously.
Honestly, I would support them.
Yeah, it's just
My end,
it's
anyway.
yeah, it's weird to think about that situation happening because like I don't want people to come through and use us to step on us, but I also like genuinely like one of the core tenets of my being is I like to see people succeed. I like to see people get their shit together, walk the right path that they need to walk, and then do right things and help people. Like I like doing that. That brings me fulfillment like to a degree I can't even begin to explain. There's nothing happier that makes me happier than seeing somebody who's doing something fucking stupid and then they get the shit together and then their life just goes from like here at rock bottom to like fucking here. I
Hmm.
think if I'm supposed to have a purpose in life, I think that's probably it, is to help people that are I've met so many people that are at the bottom, man. I've met so many people that are at the end of their fucking rope and it's weird. I think it's what's the word I'm looking for? um, an unproportionate amount of people compared. I guess me as an individual, I've met a disproportionate amount of people at this level compared to others. I think
Hmm.
I don't know, and I don't know why people that are in this state are drawn to me. I I don't know if they're drawn to me or if it's just I happen amongst all these people. Maybe it's just a weird coincidence. I don't know. But I think if I'm supposed to have a purpose, I think this is it, right? Is bringing people up that are at the end of the rope.
Yeah,
And
and
so,
not
not to get
necessarily,
philosophical,
and
but
it's not necessarily like by financial means or anything else like that. Like I
no, no,
genuinely can say this firsthand. You are just a good dude. You're a good dude to talk to. You know how to tell people like, hey, you're being stupid right now. Like
yeah,
just don't. Like you've done that with me a couple times. You're
yeah,
like, hey, just
you fucking knock it off.
yeah, like just stop. Just stop.
Just quit it, quit it.
Like I'm not gonna
Let's get
tell you
better.
what to do, but just don't do that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, no, I see that wholeheartedly, and I feel that, and I know there's a few guys that we talk to and we hang out with, that'll agree 100% with that statement.
I sure hope so because that's and and again, long term, I'm not looking for, and I'll say this on stream to people when they come in and hang out. It's like, I'm not, this is, it's not, I'm not here to be famous. I don't want to fucking be famous. I don't. Like, I don't want people showing up on my lawn, like trying to take pictures of me and shit. Fuck that. Like,
Mm.
I don't want anybody near. I'm moving right now. I'm already living in the middle of nowhere. I'm moving further out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Because I can walk out butt ass naked on my front fucking lawn and throw a football and it won't land in anyone else's property and no one's gonna see me and it's gonna be fucking great and I love that. Like I don't want to be famous. And then
Hmm.
my day job, I make enough money. I make plenty of money. It's I'm not rich, but I'm not poor. I make enough.
See, that's where you and I differ a little bit. You're like philosophical, evangelical. Just want to do this for fun, and I want to do this. My first thought when I started streaming was I want to see if I can make some of that money that Doctor Disrespect and these guys are
Yeah,
making. Like
yeah.
that's my thought. I'm definitely coming from a different tree, or what do you call it? Like, what's the good analogy
Different
there?
school of thought.
Different school of thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I still feel the, bringing people up and stuff like that, but I definitely have a little bit of a focus on monetization, I think.
I
Um,
mean, don't get me wrong. Getting paid for your work. I mean, I don't see this as work, obviously, but like getting paid for the because there's a modicum of effort put in. Even if I'm just being me, like I still have to entertain people. To
hmm,
entertain people, like I got. Fuck. How do I word this without sounding like an ass? Um, you go through the effort of allowing people to show up in the middle of your experience, and then and then
Hey,
fuck,
stick
still got
stick
tongue
around.
gas. Yeah,
So
so you gotta
what's
you gotta
what's that
you
word
gotta
that people always use on YouTube? It's what, attention retention or something like that.
maybe.
Retention. I forgot. There's a term for it. It's it's a real thing where like people will see what you're doing, and if you don't fit the bill for them, they'll just click on a different video or a different streamer.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got to find that medium of like nonchalantness, but also kind of making it worth their while to stick around.
Right, and like, yeah, it's like people are gonna show up, and I'm compelled to talk to them because that's what I'm supposed. Not so much that not that I don't want to do that, but it's what I'm supposed to do as well.
Hmm.
And so, um, getting paid for your efforts, um,
Which is
is
nice.
always nice. It's always
Yeah.
nice, obviously. I'm not gonna say, oh, i'll tell people, don't, if they're like, I'm gonna gift you fucking 100 subs, I'm gonna tell them, no, fuck off. Like, but if they do it, well, first of all, I can't refund it, and I probably wouldn't, but like, unless I did it on accident, shit like that. It's like, no, I'm not in it for the monetary gain, but like, donate, not donations, and all my, actually, the straight donation tab on my profile goes directly to a charity.
Okay.
Um,
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about that charity?
so that's it's for Gamers Outreach, and they do what's called Go Karts, Go Gamers Outreach. And what
Hmm.
they do is they build a cart and put video game consoles on it, and then they bring it into hospitals, and they donate that to hospitals. And so, um, people who are sitting in the hospital room for 30, 60 days, however long they're stuck in there, even a week, even a day or two, you're in a hospital for a couple of days. If you've ever been there for a couple of days, it's boring.
Hmm.
They got shit on TV. The stuff on TV
Yeah.
sucks, and the phone charger can never reach your bed, so you can't sit on your phone all day.
It's kind of funny how
So
that works. You're paying what, $1,000 a night for a room, and you can't even get good TV
can't
on.
even get good fucking TV. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So they wheel you out the video game console that you can start playing on it, and they vary on what they have on them, but like, it's much more. It's a lot more alleviating to have something to it. First of all, engage your brain,
Hmm.
because um what's really weird, actually, we can branch off of this. Engage your brain engagement quite literally will make you live longer. So going into
Getting into neurology now, eh?
is something like that.
Yeah, you're gonna be
So
leading the charge on this conversation.
yes, well, this is a matter of fact, right?
Yeah.
People who go to church, they live longer, and people who go to church, we're going to argue that it's because of the workings of God or whatever.
Hmm.
But also, the research shows that the social fabric that surrounds churches keeps people engaged socially, which is a big factor in your health. If you isolate yourself, you will have poor health. Period. Unless you're just some like one in like 10 million person. If you just completely isolate yourself, you're gonna have very poor health. The
Um.
social aspect of it quite literally gives you something to live for, which you live longer,
Yes.
and your will to live keeps you healthy.
Yeah, I got something to add to that too. It's because you actually just brought this up in my mind, so that does make sense. In a way, like my brain just shit itself already. Um. Yeah, halfway here.
Yeah.
Um. It giving you something to live for, and you're healthier. It kind of brings us back on that topic, the food. Okay, so like you're isolating yourself. Let's just talk about it in the manner of the food. Like when I was younger, I mean, like I'm a pretty fat guy. You can say I'm like 240 pounds. I'm only 5'9". So yeah, I'm on the bigger end. The big reason for that is I eat fucking meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
you know, and I mean, like, yeah, it's not getting any better yet, but when I was pretty isolated. Like, I didn't like. I still am not a big fan. I'm kind of a recluse. I don't like talking to people. I don't like going out. But I mean,
Mhm.
like, I was a lot worse back in the day, and um, that's one of the huge things you start to realize when you're leaving that isolation is not only are you becoming more accepting of better dietary habits, like getting better foods, you're you could potentially live better lifestyles, and it's exposing you to just better things for you.
Right.
I just wanted to expand on that a little bit to give a little bit of an example, I guess. But
Yeah, like
I do
I
understand.
never, especially the cuisine here in the United States, right? So, like vegetarian cuisine in the United States is about 30 generations behind India's vegetarian cuisine. They got a fucking perfected, dude. I had a it was an eggplant. It wasn't a curry. It was an eggplant dish.
Yeah, a lot of
I
that's
forget what it
due
was
to the
called.
fact that they don't like eating beef, right?
Well, a lot of so like basically half the population is vegetarian, and then it's for religious reasons. Some of them are
Yeah,
vegetarian. Some of them, you won't find any beef at all, like in
and
India.
like in the
That's
United States, we religiously eat beef, so
yes,
yeah,
correctly.
yeah.
So, um, I was gonna mention there is so much we do not know about diet. And as much as the experts will claim to know, we have no fucking idea what exactly our body needs. We know what it needs to stay alive. Yes. Do we
Hmm.
know everything about what we need to consume every single day to be the healthiest we can? No, we don't. So, if you look at the longest living people, it's over in Greece. There's a city in Greece where like the median or the average age, I forget, it's median or average, I forget which one it is. Age that you live is like 100, 105 or like 110. It's something crazy. It's really high. Like a lot of people live over 100 over there. It's insane. And all they do, it's like basically a farming town. They have all fresh vegetables and food, and it's in Greece, so they'll have access to seafood too. So one of the things that I do, and my dad and I were talking about it once, and we kind of agreed that like, especially in most medicines, so all you're doing is helping your body do the thing that it needs to do. It's not so much you're doing it for your body. Like think about fever reducers and stuff, like or
Hmm.
pain meds. It's like if you have a high fever, all you're doing is suppressing the symptoms, so that way, because your body can hurt itself if your fever goes too high,
Yeah.
right? But you're suppressing the fever so that way you don't die, and then your
Hmm.
body can fix the disease. Like there's nothing that goes in there and just fixes it for you. Obviously, that's not the case for everything. There are certain things that it needs external help,
Well,
but that's kind of the case for 90% of of medicine, right? And
so
so,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm coming to the tail end here.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is I try to eat as many things as possible. I try to eat as wide variety as I can because let's say there's a vitamin or a specific freaking protein or something that my body needs, I'm gonna fucking get it because
Hmm.
I eat everything, and
Yeah.
all of that can be found in your diet, right? And I still take my vitamins on top of that. So like I'm there before I got COVID in 2020. Before I got COVID, um, I hadn't gotten sick in over 3 or 4 years. Not a cold, not a sniffle, nothing. Because my diet was just so wide ranged and I took care of myself. I drank enough water and it was fantastic. and then and I got COVID and then we got isolated for fucking 2 years and then I stopped taking care of myself and I started to get sick again. And I'm like, no, we got to stop this. And so here we are back and I haven't been sick in a while. So
Hey,
keeping
good
that one
diet.
going.
Good advice. Good advice.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
couple that with go back and eat things that you don't think you like every 6 months. Oh, and the last thing, and how we don't know how to the extent that our diet helps us. There's a story by Jordan Peterson. His daughter was having extraordinarily bad autoimmune problems to the point where I think when she was 14, she's had 4 hip replacements or something like that, or 3 hip replacements by the time she was 4. It was some insane thing, right? Could barely get out of the bed, and then all of a sudden one day all she did was eat beef. That's it.
Hmm.
Only ate beef and it fixed all of her autoimmune problems. Not saying going out and eating beef is going to fix all your problems because obviously it's not, but like there is so much we don't fucking know
Yeah.
about how our digestive system works because there's a lot of symbiotic bacteria that is in there and it's going to be different for every single person. And so that's why we can't just say, "Oh, just eat these things
And
and you're going to be fine."
that's the weird thing about diets too is they can change based on what you're used to eating too.
Mhm.
So like if you're used to eating like red meats and stuff like that with lots of iron and stuff like that in it, I remember back in the day I mean, like I said, meat and potatoes. I'm gonna keep saying that. It's my new catchphrase: meat and
You're making me
potatoes.
hungry.
So, there, I don't know exactly what was happening, but I know I wasn't getting enough iron at some point when I was a little younger, and it got to the point where like I would pass out from standing up.
Yeesh.
So it's just
That doesn't
like,
sound good.
well, it's just there's lack of iron. Like as soon as I started eating more meat again, it
Hmm.
went away. Like I don't have that issue anymore, you know. So it's one of those things where your body just gets used to something too. Like you say, it's just there's so much to figure out
Yeah,
about dietary
we
needs.
don't fucking know,
You
dude.
don't know.
And that's another reason. Coming back to the symbiotic bacteria, that's a lot of it is when you start changing your diet up, you you feel like you need to go back to the way you were. So if you're just eating dog shit food, right? You're eating chips and ice cream and sweets and all this oily garbage. Like that's been your diet, and then you switch over and you eat a vegetable, and then all of a sudden your body's like, how the fuck do I deal with fiber? Like I I've needed this, but like holy shit, what do I do?
Yeah.
So not only that does your body just it lacks the symbiotic bacteria to deal with that, but also the bacteria that was breaking down all the oils and the sweets now have nothing to eat.
Mm.
And so when you change your diet, the first couple weeks are really fucking hard.
Oh
They're
yeah. I
very hard.
honestly, I was working with this one guy. He told me the same thing one time because I still haven't done it yet, but I told him I was looking to go on a diet and work out. That was 4 weeks ago now. Um, so I was telling him about that, and he was like a gym coach, a wrestling coach, stuff like that. So you know, he was like, "Oh, I got all sorts of advice," and he was like, "The one thing that surprised me is he was like, don't just jump right into your diet." I was like, "What? Why?" And I was like, "Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Is just jump in and like change?" And he was like, "No, you want to do it gradually. Like try some new things and then slowly take away what you were eating before."
Yep, because
He's like,
90% of the time you're gonna give up.
"Yeah, you will screw yourself over if you just jump straight from one thing to the other because your body's not used to that."
Yep.
And I mean, yeah, it'll be better in the long run, but it's a shock to your system.
Yep. Oh yeah. And we keep talking about food. It make me hungry.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking over at my at my topic sheet here, mostly about half-foot tryhards and how I got started. So yeah, we talked about favorite games you grew up with. Well, I mean, like let's expand on that a little bit, I guess. Like, you know, we talked about a little bit about games you started out with. What, if you can remember, what was the first game on the first console you ever played? If you can remember.
First game. We
I,
had a Sega Genesis. The one game I do remember playing was I think it was a Sega Genesis, Sega something. But there was a Jurassic Park game that was very hard because that's how games were back in the day. They were all extraordinarily difficult
hmm,
because they were all based off of even the home games. They didn't know that um, they were basically just arcade games they put in your house. And
yeah.
arcade games are designed to make you lose and start from the beginning so you pay more money. Well, that's how games were. So they were very difficult. I remember playing that one. And then another game I remember, which is very, very early on. I'm pretty sure this one was after. I think the first one was definitely the Jurassic Park one. Uh, we found um, Star Wars Dark Forces.
Hmm.
It was I don't know if my parents bought it or they got it or something. I don't know what it was or where it came from, but we had it installed on my parents' computer on Windows 95, and we played that so much that I think my dad ended up breaking it so that way we couldn't play it anymore and told us it was an accident.
My dad did that with some toy guns I used to
Yep,
have.
yep,
The little
yep.
popper guns.
We played that so much. I don't think we barely ever got past like the second level, which that was like an evolution of Doom, which we did. We did. I'm playing Doom. Um, oh, and that was the other thing. It was a DOS game called I think it was called Double Dragon. The first Double Dragon was on DOS. I think I'm probably screwing that one up or confusing it with a different game.
Now,
I think it was Double Dragon.
pardon my ignorance. What do you mean by DOS?
DOS. Oh boy, DOS was before Windows. So you know how you pull up a command prompt, right? your
Hmm.
CMD line, that's basically DOS. It's a bit different, but you have to type in commands to do things instead of having a user interface where you can click on icons or open menus and stuff like that. So you had to know where things were saved. You could open directories. So let's say things are in C documents, games folder, for instance. Not that you would have a game in there because whatever, because it's
Yeah.
so old. So you would have to type in you type in C and it pull up all the folders that are in there, right? And then so you go to C, you type in C documents. It would take you to the documents folder, list out everything that's in there, and it's just one screen. Think of like taking Windows Explorer and just going like this. Like that was it. But you have to type everything with Windows Explorer with a command line, right? And that it was starting to get obsolete even when I had it. It was like it came with Windows. It was like it was like as a compatibility thing. Like, oh, you're running a program that still uses DOS. Okay, it's going to be on here, so you can use it.
Hmm.
Holy fuck! I haven't had to talk about DOS in so long. Oh my god.
I honestly never even heard of it. Like that's before my time in gaming experience anyway. Um,
Yeah.
well, I can just tell you a little bit about my first. The first gaming console I ever had was a PlayStation 1. We
Mhm.
had a computer at some point. I can barely remember it. I think the only game we had on it was like a learning baseball, like kids game or something like that. Like you hit the ball and it says letter A, stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
I do remember that, but like that's not can't count that. PlayStation 1, one of the first games I ever remember owning myself. Um, it's not the first games I ever played because my grandma used to have the Nintendo 64 and Star Fox, and I'm really
Oh
curious.
yes.
I'm really curious if she still has it because I'm gonna go
Gold
ask her if I
Arrow.
can buy it off her. I won't tell her how
Gold
much they're
Arrow.
worth now because I don't have that
Yeah.
much money. But uh, but yeah, that game was a shit. PlayStation 1, I played a lot of Toy Story 2. I don't know
Yeah.
if you ever played that back in the day, but that was actually kind of fun. Um, yeah, so I didn't actually have a whole lot of computer experience myself until I want to say almost 2005. My grandma bought me and my brother a couple of like compact computers that could barely run like Rome Total War, the first
Mhm.
Rome Total War, you know. But that's the game I played a lot. Um, yeah,
Oh man, I'm looking here. N64s aren't as expensive than I thought they were going to be.
I'm talking the Star Fox game itself.
All right.
You should look up that.
N64.
The N64s, yeah, there's people selling them all over the place now, refurbishing them. There's like complete stores people have built just to
Yeah, they're like
refurbishing and selling N64s now.
they're right around like anywhere between 40 to like $120 you can get one.
Yeah, it's not bad. But I remember, I think it was Andrew, one of our buddies, was talking about looking at Star Fox, and I thought he said that he found one online for almost $200 just for the
Dang.
game. I'm not
There's
sure though. I never looked it up myself.
there is one that sold for $4,000 though.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it was one of the uncirculated, so it was brand new in box. It
yeah,
was if you remember the green ones, the see-through green ones.
yeah.
So it was one of those that never got circulated. So yeah, I went for $4,000.
Dang. Yeah, that's amazing how a game that you're probably only going to play for 5 seconds because you can't stand the graphics will cost that much.
I'll play GoldenEye all day. Let's go. You're in my
Hey.
world now, boy.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that was another one. I think I used to play that at daycare, though. Oddly
Yeah.
enough. They used to have N64s at the daycare I went to, and we used to have GoldenEye competitions all the
Oh,
time.
no. Yeah, just play as the short character, and you basically automatically win.
God, this is bringing up memories, man. GoldenEye.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
I actually played most of the 007 games now that I remember it. Like I can't believe I forget about this shit sometimes. Like how
No,
many
we'll have to
games
do.
you play in your lifetime that you just completely forget about.
Yeah, we'll have to do an episode on vintage games. We could probably talk about that for a couple of hours. Like,
Old vintage game bring up little videos that we
yeah,
find on them and stuff.
yeah.
Um actually one game I'm thinking about streaming soon. I think it only costs like $6 on Steam. Is you ever play Armed and Dangerous?
No, I did not.
Um,
Is it on Steam? I can look up the trailer.
one of the wackiest games you'll ever hear of. They you want to talk about crazy concepts, like new to everybody concepts. This game was like a forerunner
Oh
in
no.
just wacky, awesome, playable concepts back in the
What
day.
is this?
It was so dumb, but so
This dude's
great.
got a blunderbuss. This dude's on a turret
Dude,
that's on a
you
being shot at by dudes with air. What is
you
happening?
don't even know. There is a weapon you get early on in the game that shoots sharks out of the gun, and they go into the ground, they tunnel into the ground, and they come up and bite people from underneath and pull them underground.
This sounds like it goes hand in hand with Conqueror's Bad Fur Day.
Uh
You ever
yeah,
hear that or
yeah.
play that
I
game?
used played that quite a bit back in the day.
They remastered it. They made a Conqueror's Live and Reloaded, but
Yeah, that's actually the one I
the
played,
original
but
was yeah the original was really good. The remake is really good too.
well, the
But it was
remake
the same.
is the original with better graphics. I mean,
Yeah, it
they
was
pretty much kept everything the same.
yeah it was pretty good. Very vulgar,
Very
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 vulgar.
vulgar.
But there was one level. There was one level if a multiplayer level. If you went into the bathroom, you would unzip your pants and just start pissing if you were standing still. And if
Hmm.
you hit somebody with your piss, they would melt and die because it was acid.
Oh yeah, because Conquer was an alcoholic.
Yep.
I remember that. The opening sequence in the game is the reason why you're playing the game. Like the whole story is he can't find his way home because he got
Yeah,
too drunk.
he got shit
Yeah,
faced and wandered into the army.
and he's a squirrel. He's a squirrel, by the way. Oh, not just the army either. He took up the role as Van Helsing at one point. There's
Hmm.
a whole little there was so many different like zones and areas that are just
Yeah,
out
you
there,
gotta, you
like
gotta fight the poop
the
monster.
poop monster in the toilet bowl.
Yep, yep.
Doesn't
And all he does is make toilet puns the entire time you're trying to fight him.
he just shoot a bunch of corn at you all the time
Yep.
too?
Yes. Yes, he shoots corn at you, and you kill him by throwing toilet paper into his mouth
Yeah. Dude, I
while he's
wish.
trying to sing.
Yeah, so
Yeah, game. That's what I said. Aren't the way aren't games aren't what they used to be, man. It's
like
everything's just like
well,
how do we make the most money?
because back then you had to draw people in. 'Cause they didn't have the multiplayer aspect. It wasn't. I mean, like a lot of games did, but they didn't have that, you know, focus on the multiplayer of just like running, gunning, shooting, all that. There was story. Like even,
Yep.
hey, like you said, Halo Combat Evolved. The multiplayer wasn't really there when it first came out.
Yeah, the multiplayer was only there when it got ported over to PC.
And
It
it
was
was
like an extra
split screen.
feature to buy it for computer.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was split screen on all the consoles, which is where it came out. And so yeah, you didn't have multiplayer. You had to rely on a story to keep people interested. What was I saying? The retention zone.
Yeah.
I still got to learn that word. But yeah, that you had to build people's retention on the story and gameplay back in the day. Like, and that led to some pretty wacky ass games that will live on in our hearts for the rest of our
Uh-huh.
lives. Like, there's a lot of games that come out these days. I play for 5 minutes and forget they ever existed. Back
Yeah.
then, like these games, I will never forget these games.
Yeah, remember I made a reference yesterday to when I said chicken chaser. You chase chickens.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, Fable.
Fable. The
Yep.
first Fable was fantastic and like
It took.
really good gripping story, and then number 2 and 3 were absolute dog shit because all you did was follow around a fucking line on the ground. And this
Well,
comes to another point I have. Fable 2 was okay, but Fable 3 was definitely really boring.
I can kind of
'Cause all
see that. Yeah,
you just follow a line on the ground, and that's all you do.
it's
Here's your next thing.
linear.
Here's your next thing. Here's your
Yeah.
next thing. Here's your next thing. Here's your next thing. Here's your next thing. And that's what drew people um, to Dark Souls. Well, first it was Demon Souls, the first one, which I still have that by the way for the PS3. Really fun game. Um, and the Dark Souls, and now it's Elden Ring, which is this the same developer. They're like, we're gonna be going away from Dark Souls, and what do? They make another Dark Souls. It's from
Yeah.
software, can't do anything original apparently. Or they did a couple things original, now they can't get away from it.
Well, you
Um,
get the uppers that are like the upper management. And it's like, well, that's a good
well,
idea, but this made us some
we
money.
were making some really good money.
Yeah,
on
there
this
was
series.
money
How
on
about,
there. Yeah,
what if we just change the name?
let's just stay the course.
We're gonna change the name and we're gonna make it open world. There we go.
You know who else had that ideology though? The Nazis.
Oh Jesus!
That's
Now you've done it. Now we gotta
Yeah.
scrub the whole vibe.
No, we won't. We won't go there. We won't go there.
Yeah. No, but seriously, like the difficulty aspect of Dark Souls drew a lot of people to it because a lot of games, which don't get me wrong, it's okay to have a fun casual game, but the way they used to be back in the day was it was tough. You had to figure shit out. And
Hmm.
that was part of the draw to them was like, okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know where the fuck I'm supposed to go. There's
Well,
nothing telling me where to go.
who's?
Let's find some hints. And so you ran around the map and you explored it to find out what you needed to do next. And that was part of the magic of, I guess, map design because some of them were bad. Don't get me wrong. A lot of them you'd be running around fucking trying to open up secret doors in the wall for an hour because you have no idea what the fuck you're supposed to go,
Hmm.
but other ones were done really well, and it was like it encouraged you to search for things, and then when you found it, that's when you need, like, a System Shock is pretty good. Probably a bit more on the complicated side as far as game skill, but
So, um, to expand on that, I actually have some thoughts on that.
ooh,
So, like, you're exactly right. Back in the day, we didn't have the internet. Like, not
yes,
not in the
couldn't,
not in the concept that we have it today. You have problems with a game you're playing today, which would be kind of sad because almost everything's just linear. But
yeah.
if you have problems with a game you're playing today, you type it in Google. 5 seconds later, you figure it out. You're done. You're not working for it
You
anymore.
had to go buy a strategy guide
You had to buy a strategy guide,
by someone who played through the whole fucking game, and everything they did they wrote down, and they went back through and they played it again,
or
and then
even
found the best way to beat a level, and then wrote a fucking book on it. That's what you had to do, which came out like
and then they
6 months after the game came out.
Yep, and then they also had the developer strategy guides too that they came out
Yep.
with, which also did not include everything all the time because they wanted to leave some secrets in there. Like I remember
And that
playing
was
Grand Theft Auto. I back in the day, I always bought strategy guides for Grand Theft Auto games because
yeah,
like there was some stuff that you just needed help figuring out. Um, but yeah, I mean, like it brings about that sense of exploration. Like you found this, like your friends out of your whole friends group, every single one of you are playing this game. You are the one that just found that cool little hidden gem in the game that no one else knew about. Then next thing you know, you're telling everybody, and they can't just Google it, so they can't see it. So they're like,
right.
oh, I'm gonna go play that game again. I'm gonna go do that now. So there's no sense of like achievement when you find that stuff because you can just Google it and find a video and watch it, and you're like, oh, now I don't need to do that. I've already seen it.
That was the magic of Minecraft when it was being first developed before Microsoft. Well, it's been a while now before Microsoft bought it and monetized the fuck out of it.
Hmm.
Minecraft gained popularity by word of mouth alone. It was just
Yeah.
one dude writing code, made a game. Hey, this is kind of cool, and then people started paying him for it. And he's like, "Holy shit!" And then it just fucking blew up because it was revolutionary.
Yeah.
And so Minecraft was fantastic. I hate it now that Microsoft owns it because all they're doing is generating a whole bunch of money off of someone else's work. Go figure. What do you think Microsoft's going to do? But
Yeah.
anyway, I
Yeah.
digress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
digress.
Can get a cease and
Um,
desist after our first episode.
yeah. Well, they can go fuck themselves, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like, one thing I would almost like to do with a series on this podcast too is start highlighting games that can bring back that sense of exploration. Um, Controversial thought here. One of these games that I feel like kind of treads that territory of figure it out yourself and like leaves that door open for exploration and like adventure is Escape from Tarkov. And
Yeah.
a lot of people hate that. I've heard so many people say, "This game sucks." I don't tell you, you gotta Google extracts. You can't do that. It's like, no. I mean, like, have you ever played a game back in the early 2000s? You didn't have people like you had to wait till tomorrow to go to school, talk to a friend in class, like pass notes back and forth to each other to figure out what you needed to do to get to the next level. It's kind of the same concept he's doing with that. He's not like spoon feeding you the narrative is like
Yeah.
you know
My gripe with Tarkov is that I think, at least in my opinion, it goes beyond the sense of exploration. It goes into straight up just time consuming. Like the inventory system, it has
yeah,
to be like
I
that.
can see that, I can see that.
Like, yeah, sure, don't include a button that just pushes everything into your inventory, but like, because they want you to take more time when you're looting something as a as a punishment method, right? Just
Hmm.
click on the body, press a button, and everything's all of a sudden magically in your backpack. I get
Yeah.
that, but the inventory system right now for me is fucking stupid. It's
I.
like all you need to do is have a volume limit and then a weight limit, and then put uh, um, hard limits on gun sizes, right? Let's say you have a long gun or you have an extremely long gun, right? You have a long gun or like a rifle, and then something with a really long barrel like a sniper, for instance, right?
Hmm.
So this backpack cannot carry snipers, but it can carry one long gun, or it can carry one long gun and four pistols, or eight pistols without a long gun.
Yeah.
Something like that. It'd be so easy to do, but no, it's you're playing fucking Tetris. Like
Yeah.
this isn't Diablo 2 anymore, dude. That's all you need to do. And
Well.
that just because for me, okay, coming. Actually, we're circling way the fuck back here now,
Yeah.
right? Okay, um, time.
Hmm.
And why a lot of people I think would consider themselves half-wits is because they just don't have the fucking time to put into something.
I feel that wholeheartedly.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are both parents. We know very well. We have
Same
very
reason
limited
why you
time.
don't go branching off Counter Strike too often.
Exactly. Yes, I don't have
You
fucking
know it.
time.
You know it.
People
Yeah.
keep buying me games to play. I'm like, I don't have fucking time to play this
Yeah.
game. I
Dude,
want to. Don't get me wrong.
there
Thanks, but I can't
there
play
are
it.
so many games that actually I can't name them right now because my brain sucks. But there have been a lot of games that have come out the past few years where I'm like I do want to go experience that story.
Hmm.
Like I want it because like I played earlier games or it just looked interesting. But yeah, no, I don't have 12 hours or 8 hours to devote to a game anymore. Um,
Right.
the most recent one that I played, and I think it was the playthrough campaign, and it's probably the most recent in the past year and a half, 2 years, is High on Life because it's a 4 hour campaign. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I could come home and play an hour of that, and that was kind of nice. It was a nice little relief, and I do like longer campaigns, but yeah, that's another thing that's kind of killing the industry. I think too is like the attention span.
Yeah. Or like even the devotion to developing a good world. So okay,
There's a lot
here's
of
something.
things that go into it. Yeah.
Here's something. Actually, we can actually probably spend an entire episode talking about this. Is one of a little side project I've been working on for a few years now. Um, and a lot of it is spawned from shoddy storytelling and shoddy storytelling and shoddy world building. And I can't. A lot of it comes from some anime I've seen, where the characters are great, the concept is great, the execution all the way up until like maybe the climax is all fantastic, and they pull some stupid bullshit where they just break rules that they have, or like, oh, I just tried a little bit harder because I got some stupid conviction and then I beat the bad guy. It's like,
Hmm.
that's such an asshole. What the fuck? That was stupid. You ruined the
Yeah,
whole thing with that.
it's a trope.
And so,
Yeah, those are called
yes, right.
tropes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and it happens a lot where it's like, or they'll just staple things in. And it's not just anime. It's a lot of media these days. We're like,
Yeah.
all right, well, it's like they started on this path, realized that that wasn't the vision they wanted, and then like they staple something else in, or they get done with that arc, and they're like, oh, we don't know what the fuck to do. Right? And they just throw shit onto it. And so what I've been doing is I've developed just in world building. Let's see, let me pull up. I think I have close to, and this is all like as far as like the plot's concerned in this story that I've been writing. Um, it's just bullet points. It's not even like writing everything out. Blah blah blah. There it is. This one here. Let's see how many pages we got here. I have 12 pages. I have 12 pages of only world building, of just like this is how the world works, and if this happens then this happens.
That's not.
And the
Damn.
concept of this world is that um uh gods are not uh omnipotent.
I think you've actually.
And
Yeah. You.
yeah, I'm pretty sure
We
we've
talked
talked
about
about it
this before.
before.
Yeah. So we don't have to devolve too much information, obviously,
Right.
because yeah, this is a project you're working on.
Yeah.
No,
But
and yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing the final product on that. Actually, because I
I don't even know
remember
what the fuck the final product's supposed to be. I don't know what I'm supposed to turn
I
into. I
I
don't
remember
know.
the I remember the night me and you sat down and talked about that. We were on your front porch for almost from like 3 in the morning up until like almost 8 in the morning,
Yeah, I
drunk as
was.
shit. I puked
Yeah,
like three times off your
yeah.
porch.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
When I first moved in, we're like, hey, let's get drunk, let's go.
yeah. And we just spent like 4 or 5 hours talking about your concept you have, and
Yeah,
I thought it was
and
awesome.
yeah, I'm looking forward to the day that I can really reveal this. But for the sake of someone not just taking my fucking idea and running off with it, I think I'll keep it a little bit private for now.
Yeah, yeah, no, keep it
But
to
no, it's
yourself
just
now.
it bothers me that I've been working on this for like 5 years now, and it's still at the world building stage because I want. I mean, obviously, I don't spend a whole lot of time on it every day, but every time I think of maybe a little something I could staple in, I
Yeah.
go back, I read through it, and I'm like, okay, is this going to fit if I do this? And right now, I have enough material to write. So I have two of the arcs, basically all the major plot points solidified. It's just all this filling in all the space in between, which is I would get someone to help me with that. Um, I have almost all of the characters made and I'm not set on the third arc yet because I had to make a couple of because the physics in the world are real, like the real world physics. And actually, I can divulge this though is the way magic works between the gods and humans is people can only do things telekinetically. That is it. Now that may sound boring. Oh, I can only push stuff. All right. Well, what happens when you vibrate something really fast? It gets hot, right?
Oh yeah.
There's fire. You know what fire is? Fire is just really hot gas. So you know how like steel glows when you get it
Yeah, I
really
see where
hot?
you're going with this. Yeah.
That's just air. That's just air that's really hot. Not air, but a gas that's really hot. That's what
Hmm.
fire is. That's all the red stuff you come up, the actual fire, it's just really hot gas. That's it.
Yeah. So
So
it's telekinesis in a way, but it's almost manipulating the particulate in a way, like
yeah,
elemental telekinesis.
yes.
I'm just
And
trying to simplify it for us
yeah,
halfwits.
for us half with yeah. So one of my favorite guys, he's kind of like the what's his name from Lord of the Rings that they cut out for the movies, unfortunately. Tom Bombadil. So Tom Bombadil, um, the he is untouched and unwavered by any of the movings of everything around him. So you
Mm.
know how like the evil is creeping in and destroying the forest. His little area stays exactly the same no matter what. So well, people have speculated that he is actually the um, Tolkien. That's his own character. That's just him in his own universe. So this guy is kind of like that, but not to the extreme extent that is. But he just wants to be left the fuck alone. So
Mm.
of course, me, I want to be left the fuck alone in my personal life, right?
Yeah.
So, um, he meets the character. How the party meets the character when they're going to find him is he's standing out on a dock and he's just sitting there and he stretches out, he goes, cracks his knuckles, and then he goes to cast his spell, right? And he goes into the water, and all of a sudden, this huge fuck off explosion happens, and then a whole bunch of fish rise up at the top, and then he scoops them up into a pail and then fucks off with them. You know what he did? He he used his telekinesis to cavitate the water,
This is what happens
and it
when you
killed all
get.
the fish.
This is what happens when you get an engineer trying to build a
Yeah.
game.
That was so fucking cool. And I thought, I'm like, oh man, like you can't just have someone make explosions. Oh wait, you can have cavitations. That's basically that would cause an explosion. Like, and that came from I was watching a fucking thing about the whatever that shrimp the shrimp is that punches things and it cavitates them and
Hell yeah.
anyways, like it's shit like that. It's like if you're creative enough, you can come up with a concept that no one's done before
Yeah, it takes
and
time.
be engaging. Yeah, it
It
takes
takes
time.
time. It's not the whole rinse repeat, throw it out in the universe. It
Yeah,
takes time to develop a world, and that's the sad part about a lot of developing companies. It seems like is they're not in control of their finances. Like
yeah.
you
They
can
don't control
have
their
you can have the huge idea, the biggest idea in the world, what's going to be the best game ever made, but the guy who's funding your project will turn it into a complete dog shit
not so
if
much
they
as
want
that. They're
to.
not control of their funding. They're not control of their deadlines.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
That's the big one.
both really, because like,
Deadlines, and then also normally written in these contracts because everyone's eager to. Let's say you come up with a story and you want a game made. They go, yeah, I'll give you money to make a game. Well, somewhere in that contract they go, well, I reserve the right since I'm funding you to make changes if I see fit.
Yep. Same thing with movies.
And then that's why I don't want to bring this to something because they're gonna fuck up my story. I don't
Well,
want to do it myself. That's
you
why I think I was writing a book. Honestly.
you heard it first on the Half-Wit Try Hard podcast. Meatball Enthusiast is developing a game, and he doesn't want no corporate assholes involved.
Yeah,
So
fuck off.
let's get this monetary stream flowing. Let's get some viewers up in here. But
go sub me at twitch.tv/meatballenthusiast.
yeah.
If you want to see a book that you're probably gonna hate.
On that note, actually, yeah, you wanna we're running about an hour and 23 here, so you wanna get people some of your socials that
Yeah.
um
I
and,
kind of divide up how I do things because not everyone's looking for the same level of content. So I try to keep things split up a little bit. So all of my like personal stuff, like let's say I've rebuilt an engine, all of that stuff is on my Instagram. I built an engine. So a lot of my other projects are all on my Instagram. I do almost exclusively Counter Strike stuff on my Twitter.
mhm.
I talk about I'm really not heavily involved, but I'm heavily nose deep in the fucking pro scene. I'm always watching because I always keep um, like whatever tournaments happening on my second monitor while I'm at work, and so uh, all of that Counter Strike stuff is going to be on Twitter. Um, you'll see Counter Strike clips find their way on my Instagram, not as frequently as my TikTok, which I just made. That's just exclusively Counter Strike clips from the stream, or maybe if we're playing a different game, they'll end up on there. But that's basically another outlet for the Twitch clips. And then lastly, where I want the fucking magic to happen is the motherfucking Discord, where we're gonna pit people against each other for all of our amusement.
And how can people access the Discord?
So they can get to it several ways. There's a link to it on any of my other socials, and there's a link to it on my Twitch profile as well. Or you can get a hold of one of us, or I think I don't remember if there's a link on the YouTube or not. I can't remember. Probably is still.
Well, when we go to upload this video, we will be on YouTube first. I'll look at other ventures in time come, but YouTube's going to be our primary source for the podcast. We will put links in the description. We'll put a little box up in the video at some points too. It shows your name, like where we can find you on Twitch and Twitter and stuff like that. So that'll be there accessible for you guys. Yeah, Meatball Enthusiast. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, boy.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Thanks for joining. Obviously you're gonna be back again at some point. Because we left a lot of open ends here, so
just one and done. See you later, nerd.
yeah, no. This podcast sucks. Bye. But yeah, so the next podcast we have to look forward to, we'll have Winter Star on. You'll get a chance to, honestly, I've only had a couple opportunities myself to talk to him. So it's going to be a learning experience for me too. Should be fun. And I don't have a timeline for you guys yet. So we'll just see what happens.
Pilot episode, baby.
Yeah.